Hello everyone, and hope you're ready for some more Rage Forest. Yes, we got TaToH versus Mihai, should be coming up in just a moment. Draft is 14:45 today, so expect games a little after 15 GMT. That gives me time to get some coffee, as my coffee's in the coffee maker right now. So, welcome everyone. Let me see, they probably get the draft ongoing then. TCM.net. Get a typing here. This is always the fun part, finding the drafts. And different people are in the lobby right now. There's a Rage Forest going on right now. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at the actual match, Mihai versus TaToH. Oh, and we do have a draft. Perfect. So the draft should be done. Just have to find it. And there we are. Great. So I think we're all ready to get started. Whenever the players are here, we'll go. Just wait for my coffee to finish and grab that right before we start. I see Jordan's happy he qualified for the league. That's playing Rage Forest. Jordan's playing Rage Forest. That's what everyone does. They play Rage Forest. There's some hamsters versus clowns going on today, too. Andy versus Doubt are going to play. Doubt's playing Rage Forest. He needs to go play his tournament set. And then Andy versus Doubt also had something else. Oh, Specialist Cup. They're doing all this stuff today. I make a post that I'm live. Grab the YouTube URL to share. So I came to the realization that the reason I haven't been able to stream in 4K on YouTube is due to capture age. For whatever reason. I don't know if there's a capture age change at some point when I upgraded from Windows 10 to Windows 11. But I can't actually stream in 4K when I'm doing it. I get encoding lag in OBS, so I'm investigating that. And I suspect the most reliable solution would be a 2 PC setup. Because I think all I literally need would be a case and then a keyboard and a mouse for a streaming PC, and I'd have a streaming PC. That'll be some investigation on my end. So how are the bans determined? Those bans are random. Those bans are done randomly at the start of the draft, and then each team bans 2 civs themselves. Just looking for them to get in their lobby now. You know, we got ACCM, Raven, Manos, and Chrissy Boo versus Ganji, Jordan, Barles, and Matza in a lobby game right now. You go spectate the lobby game. Where is the map draft? We'll need some type of meme for that. Where's the map draft? Make sure my hotkeys are set up for 4v4. I think I did this. Yes, I did. Good. Lovely. So, Teutons and, once again, Georgians. Georgians a very high pick. And Persians a super high pick for Team TaToH, too. And Bulgarians. Persians, Bulgarians, I don't know of as very top picks. Persians are just a paladin, Savar Civ, with a good eco. I suppose elephants come into play late game. I'm still not convinced that the eco is worth it, compared to other paladin civs available later. Saracen's a very good civ, but also some weaknesses, as we saw in Viper's team's matches. 2P at the very end, Goths towards the end. And Mihai's team that has Malians, Goths, and 2P at the end versus TaToH's team with Maya, Poles, and Romans. I've seen some very big differing opinions on how good Romans are. Some teams like them a lot more and would take them earlier than very last. I still don't see a lobby. Arl's asking for a juicy and dramatic set. I think that's what we get every Rage Forest set. Why so many bans? So that exactly every civ in the game appears between the drafted civs and the banned civs. There should be 53 civs in total on the screen, I believe. Little caterpillar. Yeah, no map draft. No map draft, just pure Rage Forest. Also, Mihai a captain this time. We've had a dearth of players who actually want to be captain. Look, did I not remove the 15 GMT from my stream title? I did not. There we go. RF tournament, let's go, let's go. Indeed. Let's get the lobby started. So let's see. Still don't see anyone in the lobby. Don't see TaToH or Mihai online. Could just go watch another Rage Forest game while we wait. I'm realizing the audio for this track is not balanced in both ears. Is it live? It'll be live. That's where we're waiting, no chance. It'll be live. How many bans the team? Each team gets 2. They're on the overlay there. The rest of them are random. To ensure we get some civ variety and don't just see the same civs every time. Try to replicate some of the nature of when you're playing Rage Forest in a lobby, you go on random civs. And to simulate the fact that AoE2 lobbies take a while to start, they've not yet started their lobby. You see, the teams are there. TaToH is in his voice chat. Mihai is in his voice chat. You see them there. Mihai's team is legit scary with Sorakuma and Kamigawa. As Mihai and Kamigawa together were on this, I think it was them, TaToH, and Dragonstar who had won the previous Rage Forest. TaToH, I don't know how well Moray is going to play, but I guess TaToH having some synergy there picked him early. Dragonstar, a very good player on TaToH's team. Does have some Rage Forest tournament experience for sure. Oh, there we go. The lobby is hosted. They've done it. They've hosted the lobby. Giving their last motivational speeches for this legendary clash, yes. Alright, I will be right back. Gonna grab my coffee, and then we will get started. Alright, chat. I've got my coffee. And we have players in the lobby. Does anyone know how to pronounce the player? Well, I'm going to show you the name I need help pronouncing. There were no bans. What would be the 5 best civs? On Black Forest? That's a good question these days. Probably top civs like Mongols, Celts, Koreans. Spanish were there a lot for the trade. Probably Bohemians. Depends on how you want to combo them too, because if you want to go for the Paladin pocket. then seems like Persians have been the favorites for Savaras, but maybe it would be Lithuanians. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is... TaToH called him Pikachu. How do I say this? It's like P, A umlaut, Jehu. I have no idea how to say that name. If anyone can advise me, I need some help. I need some help. Everyone else, Kamigawa, Dragonstar, TaToH, Moray, Sorokuma, Dan, Mihai. I can pronounce those names. Hajehu? I liked Pikachu. I think that's what I might end up going with. That's what I might end up going with. But TaToH picked him. He's yellow, so Pikachu would be the right color. Anyway, let me just check out the seedings. The seeding sheets in the Discord. I remember that. Let me find important links. Team rankings. Yes. So, TaToH's team right now is seed number 4. I'm curious about that, because I'm definitely not as familiar with Moray being... Like, Moray plus Dragonstar being such a good addition to TaToH's team. But, maybe they are. Which team is seed 1? Valis. 1, 2, 3, 4 is Valis, Barles, Ganji, TaToH. Viper, of course, is seed 16. Although his teammates looked pretty good before Viper dragged them down. And Lewis just edged out Viper for seed 15. Mihai, meanwhile, is seed number 12. So this is the 4-12 matchup. I feel like Mihai's team might be a bit underrated, though. Hello, Timo. Team streaming point of view get 5% more respect? They do. They do. Honestly, as an event host, I always love when players stream. Hello on YouTube. Also, Hoplite and Sci-Fly. Viper's a content streamer. Of course he's low. These digs at Viper. Anyway, up here we go. We are launching. We're getting into the game. Finally time to start. Who's ready for some Rage Forest? I'm ready for some Vil fights. And loading in. Oh, the game is over. Why is the game over? Out of sync detected. Why did I go out of sync? Alright, I'm just looking at my mod page to make sure I'm subscribed to the mod. And I have no idea, why am I subscribed to all Civs, Fortified Bonus Wall, Flying Cart, Super NC Big House? I did not subscribe to that mod. DE, why am I subscribed to this mod? I did not subscribe to that. The heck? Alright, once more, attempting to spectate the game. Alright. Hopefully we don't go out of sync this time. Alright. We did it. We managed to get into the game. Alright. I'll just have Vil fights right away. I'll set up the scoreboard in a second. But Vil fights here. This is Moray versus Sorokuma. And Sorokuma take a great fight right there at the start. Moray almost got the wall up super far forward, but didn't quite finish it. And Sorokuma has to pull that weak Vil back. But our purple player, the name I can't pronounce, manages to kill the Vil. And that evens things up a bit. Moray couldn't finish the wall on the other side. Very forward wall for TaToH. Mihai's a player, from when I've seen him play Rage Forest, he doesn't fight for walls in Dark Age, but he fights for them in Feudal. And had a lot of success with that in the last Rage Forest event. He's Pikachu? Okay, I'll just call him Pikachu then.
Sure.
And right now, Sorokuma and Morai in this fight with Pikachu's helpful scout nearby.
See.
And a couple more tiles, and Morai gets this finish, but Sorokuma will send more Vills. Can't leave the tiles with the Vills, because then Morai could actually build there. Also, Mihai and Sorokuma, teammates from the Taiwan AoE gamer team from TAG.
Sure.
And yes, Sorokuma can't retreat. He has to be so careful on those walls. Why is Green not sending the scout? That is a good question, Dan MT. He's pushing deer. That's why he's pushing deer. He might have sent the scout down here and ended up pushing deer. I had trouble joining. I was like a second or so late. Oh, here he's pushing. He's not pushing his own deer. He's pushing Sorokuma's deer. All right. He has a low HP scout, and he's helping out by pushing Sorokuma's deer. That's what he's doing. He's like, yeah, I can't fight anymore. I'll just push your deer for you. And now all the Vills are forward. The Vills are fighting Pikachu's scout. Oh, a bunch of weak Vills there. I bet Pikachu wishes he could just spam that Smash Brothers down B attack right now with that scout. As we move over to the hill, another Vill down from Morai. Let's look up, where's the Eco KD screen? There we are. 4 Vills lost for Morai. 3-2 Vill KD for Sorokuma. That's a low HP scout, and Sorokuma gets the scout, but he might have a boar lamed. Morai gonna go straight for the boar. Sorokuma might be able to do a house and stop the lame. And actually, the boar just stops. Oh, but all the Vills shoot it. I don't know which Vill the boar is chasing, but it's going after them. And thank you, Lisa. Want to play forever for the follow? Purple lost a Vill to, I see have a 1-2 Eco KD. He was out here. There's a bear. I see a boar under the TC for purple. That's one of them. Maybe another was out by the wall fighting, but he did lose at least one Vill to the rhinos. Also, let's talk about the ponds. Looks like it is a 4-pond map. So 4 ponds per team. So 8 ponds total. I always worry about those because the ponds can spawn awkwardly. Like, what the heck is this shape of a pond? But they're there. They have to avoid the hills. Hills get placed before ponds, and I can't really do anything about that. And yeah, lots of idle time for Morai here. Also, he's Burgundians, and with all this Vill fighting, is delaying the Dark Age eco upgrades. TaToH on the other side, he's up to feudal. And oh wait, TaToH, he's in the back. He's in the back. He's doing a sneak dock. Yes, he is at the back. And there's a galley for Mihai. Mihai actually the first one up to feudal. And he'll find and kill TaToH's villager. Walterin got the galley out. But the dock is up, and that can be the important part. That can be the important part for getting out some fires to attack the fishing ships. And X over here is this Vill from TaToH keeps adding in more palisades. And on the other side, Sorokuma is pushing through the wall with all of his Vills. And will try to take out more Vills. More Vills from Morai. And nice wall from Sorokuma to get the Vill trapped. And Morai's going to go for a backup wall. He needs one more tile, and I think he's got it safely. And yeah, he does get the walls. Oh, but he's going forward. He's not content. He wants more forward walls. He wants more forward walls. This is where Sorokuma has to be careful not to let the Vills finish that wall, because then his Vills would be trapped. And on the other side, stone walls for TaToH after he had done that forward dock. And the Vills here fighting again. Low HP Vills. 1 Vill from Sorokuma going down. And Sorokuma doing what he can to keep that open. He had almost gotten the walls up. He needs 2 more tiles himself. But Morai is still fighting. This is basically taking these players out of the game. The Burgundians and the Muisca. Part of me feels the Burgundians should be a stronger civ than the Muisca. So maybe advantage Sorokuma simply to continue fighting. And no pond for TaToH, despite there being ponds everywhere on the map. It's like everyone got a pond aside from him. Pikachu and Dragonstar will be sharing ponds in the back of Pikachu's base. And also Moray docking. Moray will be docking for this Vil fight. Sorokuma not docking, so if Moray can get some fishing ships out, that'll maybe help make up the Vil difference. And Moray does get forward, and he will finish the wall, and even wall in front of the relic. He'll probably need to keep Vils there to repair. And Sorokuma could get feudal first and break through. But TaToH, remember, you cannot garrison, so the Hulks become significantly deadlier when you can't garrison and shoot at them. Hulks won't destroy the docks, but Mihai with double docks just lost all of his fishing ships. So great sneak from TaToH in terms of disrupting Mihai. It's Poles versus Italians over here. And I think we finally have a moment where I can set the team names on the scoreboard. This is Team TaToH against, say, Team Mihai. There we go. And the players themselves are against each other. Gray versus red. I'll keep the captain's colors on the scoreboard up there. And Moray still walling, still trying to keep his Vil alive. And Sorokuma did break through. He will try to kill that Vil. Moray could delete and run if he wants to. He's trying to wall the Vil into safety, but will lose that Vil. So all things considered, now Mihai has lost 6, or it's 1 to 6 Eco KD for Mihai. That's because of the fishing ships. Forward workshop for Dan. He's going to help in this Dark Age fight here. As it's 5 to 7 KD for Moray, 6 to 6 for Sorokuma. But Moray is significantly more idle time than Sorokuma. However, he is fishing. He has 2 fishing ships out with 4 on the way. And it'll now be Pikachu who has to come forward and stonewall this. As Dan has not just the forward workshop in a monastery, but also scouts looking to push through this passageway. And these are merely Dark Age Palisade walls. And the Vils for Pikachu are on their way. Moray needs to wall this? Make sure this stays out. Might even have to sacrifice Vils as the Light Cav are pushing through the walls. And it feels like Moray was down, but managed to pick up a couple more Vil kills at the end, even after the walling. And TaToH dominating this pond, doing a couple of fires too. To be fair, there are so many ponds as Sorokuma finally has docked. Mihai could just go dock another pond if he wants to at this point, get some fish traps out. He did take most of the shorefish earlier on. Let's see if he wants that. He's very heavy on gold. Didn't fight over the walls in Feudal. He's a very good fan of men-at-arms in Feudal from what I've seen in previous Rage Forests. But the walls are up. These are good old sturdy Castle-Age stone walls. But, oh, look at these forward golds from Moray. He should have 1 in the back, and his stones are in the back. Those golds will be annoying if he loses control over them. And this push will continue through the wall. Get towards the wood line. Get a bit more area to push. All these houses do kind of serve as a wall, but Pikachu needs to wall behind them because Dark Age houses will not stop mangonels. On the other side, Elephant push from Dragonstar as the pocket. He's the Dravidian pocket. And we'll have the Dravidian Dragonstar going for the Elephant push. Attacking the outpost, Elephants and Monks. And he'll get a second TC behind this. It won't just be a 1 TC all-in push. But this stone wall certainly helping. Pikachu might need to delete that Vil. If the Vil gets converted, that Vil needs to get Mangonel immediately. Okay. That was scary for a moment if a Vil could do anything. Having a forward Vil behind walls is crazy. At least it was kind of penned in. But 1 Mangonel shot. Looks like Dan had gotten the better end of that trade, but he doesn't have a repair Vil. As the Goss, I don't believe he has Redemption. No, he doesn't have Redemption. So a Mangonel defense should be able to hold this. When you have Goths on your team, you can essentially use them as a Paladin Civ. You can also use them as a Hal Bombard Cannon Civ. But you're not going to have the Siege Onager available for them. Although Moiska have Siege Onager, if I recall. So they could be the Siege Onager Civ on the side with the Goths, with Siege Engineers. Yeah, maybe adding a ram would have helped. There wasn't much that could have stopped the ram. Took a while for Pikachu to get the mangonels of his own out. Or maybe he was just thinking long-term for the Mangonel War. Meanwhile, Dragonstar's push is continuing, and Dragonstar is in. He's in, and he has a great presence here in Kamigawa's base. Kamigawa is walling with his fish traps. I don't think that works, but the palisade will cover the beach tile anyway. Mangonel's attacking the galleys, and these houses going down. We'll have some scouts for Kamigawa. That's gonna be maybe to pick off the Mangonels, but hard to use with all the pikemen there. And Xing over here, Pikachu still doing a good job of making sure that nothing gets in. He has a monk to convert that knight, and he can go for one more wall. So Sorokuma will go for his own stone wall, but have to get back up as the Mangonel comes forward. And actually, it's a bit risky, as this side is not stone walled for Sorokuma. On the other side, looks like Mihai's gonna go for a push. TaToH had done towers, but Mihai is going to use monks to convert the towers. Mihai has redemption. And what type of Mangonel shot will TaToH get here? What type of Mangonel shot will he get here? Redemption is there for the monks. He gets 2 Mangonels. The tower goes down. And Ram from Mihai added in along with the push as he's doing a forward lumber camp, keeping the Vills forward. And now looks like Pikachu is starting to push up this passageway against Dan, too. And Mihai's team does have a few more Vills. But this is a deadly push from Dragonstar. You gotta love Redemption Monks. And now all the Mangonels gonna destroy the houses, as we'll have a defensive Mangonel for Kamigawa. But 5 Mangonels and 2 Rams for Dragonstar. And remember, he can heal the Rams, another barracks, he's adding more pikemen. The only thing he can't do is garrison the Rams. He's gonna Mangonel his own pikemen, Dragonstar. Not like this. Arjeetan's an admin. We shouldn't see his gameplay. And this push is continuing. I think Kamigawa's in a lot of trouble. As the Khmer, he was hoping to farm, but not going to do so peacefully. And there is a siege tower filled with pikemen for Dragonstar. He wants to chase down those Mangonels. The attack ground misses. Dragonstar will see that castle. And if Vills are building the castle, then they won't be in the TCs to shoot the pikemen. And the pikemen are there. He could destroy 3 Mangonels with pikemen. Repair's not in time. That's 2 Mangonels down. And a 3rd down. Now if he wants to run, he can hop back in the siege tower and save the pikemen. There they go. He didn't quite destroy the market. He needs to pick up the pikemen. There he is, and he'll just speed on out of there. That's not allowed. That's perfectly allowed. I still think siege towers are too fast, but that's allowed. Mangonels are going down. And oh, nice wall from TaToH. Saw he was forward. And Mihai sacrificing his own Mangonel to kill Vills. Mihai will wall and then delete the wall. And I think TaToH's managed to contain this. I think he's managed to contain it. We'll have a few now Flemish militia from Moray pushing into Sorokuma. Sorokuma trying to defend. Still has his Goth pocket here. And Kamigawa is still struggling to do with that siege tower Mangonel push as he's lost his starting TC. A sad pile of rubble atop the road as Kamigawa has to run to do more TCs in the back. He's got 74 Vills. He's actually behind Dragonstar in terms of Vill count now. Dragonstar is still with a fish boom, not even a huge fish boom, just 10 fish traps. And he's up to now 6 Mangonels. And he is feasting on these TCs. This is Kamigawa maybe testing out the town center as a new item for the menu on at his pizzeria. Dragonstar's feasting there. Here is Mihai just clearing some palisades. And it feels like the pushes on both of the flanks have stalled a bit. This TC is not going to stay up much longer against all those mangonels. No fletching even for the castle. That might keep the mangonels farther away. Siege Tower was banned in RF? It's not banned in this tournament. It was banned on the Red Bull ladder. That's just the Red Bull ladder. Oh, he's got a Mangonel's on Siege Tower. The only thing that can stop a Siege Tower is your own Mangonels. And there go the Vills fighting it. Kamigawa might use the repair hockey instead of right-clicking, and the Vills bunched up in the middle of the TC. A couple went down to the Mangonels. He's got his own Mangonel, Pikeman defending it. But he's lost a lot, and Dragonstar has a huge score now. And some X's over here. Looks like Moray is going to help contribute to the walling. Perhaps just backup wall just in case someone cuts. Make extra sure that they protect their fish. Now TaToH still... Where is his fish boom? He doesn't have a fish boom. He has Mihai's pond. He could just do fish traps there, I guess. Maybe a bit risky. Yeah, the siege towers were nerfed a bit, so they're unbanned now. And castle up for Dan. We also have a castle for Sorokuma. Monks wanting conversions on the pikemen. And walls go down to the Mangonel. Pikemen still trying to secure this area. But Mihai now has to deal with the fact that Dragonstar can turn his pikemen and his Mangonel push down this way. Dragonstar has encountered the castle and decided, you know what? Can't keep pushing the castle. Kamigawa, you go build that TC. I can come back and eat it later. I'll go disrupt Mihai. Make sure that TaToH pulls ahead. Now, Dan MT has the Goths. He is definitely the most boomed of all players. And by that, he has 158 Vills. He will be against the Franks, though. And in my experience, Franks can be a hard counter to Goths by going hand cannoneer, throwing axemen. It's a bit trickier if you're trying to be the paladin civ, and the Goths are spamming halbs. You do need to wait a bit till you get your paladin numbers out, and that's what all the backup fortified walls are doing. As Dan will be cutting, and he's opening champion, and we're gonna have Moray walling the whole forest, walling the entire forest. And the walls are gonna go down just to reveal fortified walls. But since it is one layer of fortified wall, and it is Goths, I think this would actually be a perfect opportunity for a siege tower. And let the Goths flood with the siege tower, destroy the docks. And Dan will be chopping along the forest. Some Mangonels there from Kamigawa, almost hitting his teammates' crossbowmen. We'll have Onager from Dragonstar, as we'll have some X's from TaToH, maybe saying, hey, wall that in case the Goths break through. I mean, no army. Well, he's got 160 villagers. He's got a boom he needs to take care of. The Goths player's got 10 more pop space to boom with. Okay, well, the Onagers can kill some Vills now. They are pretty darn far forward. I'm still waiting for that siege tower. There'll be a forward castle now from Dan. Some houses go down. Those docks would be in cannon range. Start disrupting the fish. Mangonel will start chopping over here. Moray saying, I'm sorry, Pikachu. I'm gonna have to sacrifice your vills to keep us safe. Leave you at the mercy of those onagers. But the fish here for Pikachu will be a problem. At the very least, if you're the Franks and you lose your fish, maybe the civ that cares the least because you do have free crop rotation if you need to reseed farms. But you still don't want to be spamming Paladin when you're out of fish. And we have some halbs forward for Dan. On TaToH's side, it's a trib push now from Dragonstar. Dragonstar losing some of the forward buildings he had in Kamigawa's base. He now assists TaToH. And there's also a Paladin over here. These Pikachu Purple Pocket Paladins pushing their way into Mihai's base. But a few trebs, and oh, there we go. They're a light cav from TaToH. Did they get through? Oh, looks like there was a cut for some light cav. But Kamigawa is an imp, and he can get some halbs out. So not the end of the world if he can get halbs here, but it will give a nice castle position there for Dragonstar. As the Goth push continues, but they are encountering the Franks now, and a couple of cannon galleons on the ponds. Cannon galleons can help snipe the onagers, as can the Frank bombard cannon. I just feel that Paladin is not the unit composition that Pikachu needs here. And then the Gwetcher Warriors are in the back. What are they going to do? They're going to destroy the Cannon Galleons. Cannon Galleons have to pull back. At least the Gwetcher Warriors have short range. And that's a castle from Sorokuma. As they want to hold this area, isolate Moray. Does Moray have... I mean, he was walling the whole map. I don't know if he has any vills over here. But he doesn't want to be in the almost defeated position, which he is now if he's trapped. We'll have some Xing from TaToH as Dragonstar's getting a castle up. Kamigawa finding ways to defend. Some Arumi swordsmen now. This is such a weird game. Dravidian, not fish booming. Frank's playing like a low elo player who needs forever to make army. Mihai playing Arbs as Italians. Arbs as Italians, I think, is fair if you're not against a cav push. You'll get more of them than you will Genbos. But, yeah, oddly enough, not necessarily the thing you associate with Italians the most. Yeah, Khmer playing Hals versus Dravidians. Needs to get some Scorpions out. Remember, Dravidians can do Siege Onager, or called Siege Onager without Siege Engineers. And more workshops for Dragonstar. That might be what he's angling towards. See, Rumi's trying to break through. And TaToH with the poles has done Winged Hussars, and he is cutting through. If he cuts, that's going to open up, well, not much. Sorokuma's not fishing. But Sorokuma's eco, and maybe even Dan MT's fish. And remember, Dan MT is the Goss. He can't wall himself behind this. And there is a defensive castle from Pikachu. He's repairing it. He's losing a lot of fish traps. And now those Paladins, I feel like he's going to struggle to field Paladins, at least in the short term. Can we see how many vills he has on food? Only 20 vills on food when you're going Paladins. You usually want at least 3 times that number. And the Paladins are going down. The scores are closing a bit thanks to this push, but here come now the Winged Hussars raiding from TaToH, getting across the middle of the map into Sorokuma's eco. Sorokuma actually was the number 2 scorer on his team, and I think his team might need to rely a bit too much on the Goss to carry here. Unless the fact that those Hustlers ran to the side means that this forward will be lost. A lot of our onagers from Dragonstar would steal in for him, so the swordsmen ignore armor. Or the infantry ignore armor. But it feels like now Mihai has secured this. I'm just looking at that bill count now for Sorokuma. He has nothing, absolutely nothing to stop the Winged Hussars. He needed a castle in his economy somewhere. This is no repeat civ. There's a draft. There's a civ draft. We should maybe get the draft pinned somehow. Can we swap to the resource panel? Resource panel. Not that much for Pikachu. He's struggling on food. He's getting some cannon out. Then there are lots of cannon and trebs from the other side as Mori is desperate to hold. But the winged hussars have now arrived at Dan's base. They'll be everywhere. Dan wasn't able to get this castle up. If those winged hussars were attacking, they could even destroy the castle foundation. Trebs destroying the castle. Got some Dromans on the pond for Dan. And it looks like Dragonstar has had to go Dravidian champions to help out here. I don't know how well champions do against the Gwetra warriors, but that's one castle down, and that's a lot of trebs and cannon from Moray, as he looks like he's going to take out the next castle, and this push might be stalling out, as TaToH is getting winged hussars now into every single base. He's running around getting into Mihai's base. Mihai's Vil count has now plummeted. The overall Vils for Team Mihai are almost 200 behind the Vils for Team TaToH. There are petards for Dan. Patiently waiting for anything to explode on. I don't know if they'll find it. As Pikachu's repairing his castle, there aren't too many siege weapons here. Yeah, the Droman on the pond is nice, but the cannon can push that away. And TaToH's raids, TaToH is everywhere. He is in every single player's base with those Polish winged hussars. This is how you want to use your winged hussars. You don't want to fight the Habs directly, you just want to raid and kill Vils. And now we have 3 players on Mihai's team down under 100 Vils. And here come the Goth. Oh, here come the Condottiero. Oh my gosh, it's the Italians plus Goths. The Goths of the Condottieri. They can counter the gunpowder, but not really the Crustilier. And it looks like they did get cleaned up there. Yeah, the Druidians have arrived to push the Goths back. Casual 200 eco difference between the teams. At the same time, if the Hussar raids are cleaned and the teams can add their Vils back, which they do, for the most part, have lots of TCs for doing so. Oh my gosh, did Kamigawa just mangonel his own trebs? Did he just mangonel his own trebs? I think he just destroyed his own trebs. Kamigawa, no. Oh no. You can maybe convert a mangonel. Mihai saying, I'm gonna convert that so that Kamigawa doesn't convert it himself and destroy his trebs with it. And all these forward castles have been removed. And Pikachu still 162 Vils, with 58 on food now, as he has added in those crop rotation farms. And now in a position where he can make those paladins. And start to push back on this side. To the east, though, feels like TaToH still pushing. He has a lot of rams now. He'll have to deal with the Khmer Halbs. TaToH has a lot of cannon, too. Remember, Winged Hussars get an attack bonus against gunpowder, so they'll take out the cannon. As the ram push gets through. And the monastery here, relics ejected. And the monastery goes down. All the Yarvs dying. Dan asking for food. Not a good sign when the Goths player is asking for food. As the hand cannoneers are here for Moray. Retro Warriors should be good against hand cannoneers, but not so much against paladins. Let's get a Thunderstone if they win. Pikachu is pushing back. Those paladins now going to start running into Halbs as the composition for Dan changes. And this is where things get very difficult. The Goths train units so quickly that when you're fighting underneath 12 Goth barracks, you're basically just holding for your bombard cannon to destroy the barracks. The reinforcements come out so quickly, it's hard to win that fight. On the other side, we have maybe a push there, some X's there. As I think this is actually open. Sorokuma didn't finish the wall, so the castle actually blocks the opening now. But if Pikachu were to delete the walls, paladins could pour in were they in the proper position to do so. And it feels like after all those raids from TaToH, Mihai's team has mostly stabilized. Mihai could probably use a few more villagers. He's down to 80. But the Italians also have something of a cheap composition. They don't necessarily need too many vills. And if they get to Genoese crossbowmen, against the Poles, they should be good against that cav spam. He's not there yet, though. Looks like the Scorpions are here for Kamigawa. He's ready to defend his passage. And this push cleaned the initial ford, but maybe stalling out. And I think we're kind of resetting to the point where the game is mostly equal. Yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce that, so we're just going with Pikachu. Why doesn't the Chimera do Elephantos? Good question. Maybe he will eventually. I'm seeing a battle elephant and a ballista elephant now. A couple of elite Custilier now. As Moray is raiding, Moray has realized this passageway was open. He is through. And he is pushing with some siege too. Sorokuma converting some paladins. We'll have the Muisca Paladin now for Sorokuma. He's doing some defensive castles. We got an X there for Moray, maybe signaling, hey, we can hit that castle. They got some trade here. Let's push into the trade. TC attacking the paladins as a conversion comes in. Paladin down. And the cannon goes for the monastery. As all the Custilier will have to fight Vills. But the relics are ejected now from Dan. And we have cannon from TaToH. Dragonstar looking to cut again, maybe, but there are walls everywhere. And Sorokuma sending some Vills forward. What's he up to? Where are those Vills going? And now that things have kind of stabilized, the trade route is weird. It looks like the trade for the team in the north is going directly through the middle of the map. I mean, the way this spawned, this would be absolutely crazy, but the gold you get per trade increases if you're trading, increases the distance the markets are apart. What if they somehow could get markets over in this corner, and then markets over in this corner? Either team, whether it's TaToH pushing Mihai or Sorokuma pushing Mori out of their corner, they could get the diagonal trade across the middle of the map. And that would be crazy. That's the most gold you could get. You can call him main guy, as a decent English translation from Finnish meaning. So he's like a protagonist then. And it feels like this push is working again now. Sorokuma, yeah, he has to worry about his own base, but also pushing up the middle. He still has units there. I wonder if there's ever a situation now, if you're the Franks player, that you want to swap to the Axemen instead of Paladins. Because Axemen should counter everything. Halbs are still deadly to the Paladins. And, well, who wanted elephants from Kamigawa? Here we have some Chimera elephants. Dragonstar forced to do Dravidian Halbs. That will be a bit tricky for the elephants, but Chimera player with double crossbow on that Scorpion has tools for dealing with the Halbs. Since when is trading available on water? So trade cogs have always been in the game as Sensor rights, but the patch when they did the water rework. So I guess that was when the last Chieftains DLC came out. That enabled the ability to choose if you want to get wood on the water. So, I mean, if this game goes forever, and the map runs out of wood, we could have trade on the ponds where players trade for wood. It's a possibility now. I think we'll have peaked Rage Forest if we do that. Frank's players going 200 vills. A ton of vills. I don't know, but it feels like get rid of some vills and have some axemen in the passage would be much more useful than the skirmishers. Yeah, we need to balance the ponds for trade. We'll need to do that in the future. These paladins is still I don't know what to think about this. I don't really like paladin against halb spam. At least it's working with the hand cannoneers behind it. And Moray just moving forward. Every so often he'll get a few more tiles of wall. A little bit more map control. The trade is being raided now. This does not feel like a safe market. I feel like this team needs to move its trade up to this corner. Looks like they're doing so. We got some markets there. This market looks awesome, by the way. A little road inside of it feels super high resolution compared to the other one. Anyway. Paladins are pushing, hand cannoneers are here, and now they're underneath the barracks for the Goths. The Goths are down to 9 barracks, and they'll slow their production a bit. Beat Castilier here, and the hand cannoneers here are the key for Moray. Letting him rack up kills on all the Goth units, especially the Halbs. And if the Halbs go down fast enough, they won't be able to kill the Paladins. And now the Castilier are here. Once again, something that the Halbs have to fight. I'm not sure what else Sorakuma could do other than his unique unit. And it feels like, oh, there's a big cut. Big cut through the middle. As now, TaToH's going to go for another raid with all those winged hussars. He's going to cut straight up to get into Dan NP's base. Dan NP is the Goths, so he won't be able to wall that out. The best bet would be a conversion here and then a Mangonel destroying the other ones. Paladins counter Halbs. Torches are away, SO and Temple Guard. Yeah, if you could get there, right? But he's been fighting the whole game. Sometimes you get to that stage where you're fighting and you just never have the res you want because you're constantly making units. And even with 57 trade cards, it looks like he's struggling for gold. I think that's one of the hard things for the Muisca late game, that they're very gold dependent. And he might not have much trade soon as the raids are coming in. The onagers are forward. And a great cut by Dragonstar to get right to the trade. We'll have a forward castle from Pikachu, that Frank Castle. Cheap Frank Castle's an imp still. Just needs more than 20 at a time. And now that they've cut through, some elephants are chasing the onagers. There are some condottieri here. And we're having Elite Huskarl from Dan. Trying to do all the different types of units that he can. We'll have a few barracks going up for him. And the ram push now from TaToH. Elephants are there from Kamigawa. Are they numerous enough to stop the rams before the castles go down? Those castles have their HP upgrades. Especially when you're floating food and wood. Masonry and architecture. Go to a university and grab them. Elephants stop the ram push. And this Treb will have to pack up and run. Dan asking for wood. You call him Pikachu? That's the best I can do. TaToH called him that when he drafted him. So that's the best I can do. He's our main man. He's going for the Paladins, and still he's going only Paladin. I do wonder if it would be better to do another unit in addition to the Paladins, but so far it's working for him. TaToH, oh, house walled out. Dan with the goth house walls, showing the strength of that gothic architecture to keep the Hussars away. And despite early fights in this passageway with all these fortified walls, Mihai has been safe for a long time. And with all of the castles, nothing's been pushing TaToH either. We'll have, what are these? Some Genoese crossbowmen pushing forward. Surprised Pikachu? Well, more like surprised TaToH. Well, they didn't wall, they made houses. How good is that unique unit skirm? Okay. Kind of versatile in the way that skirms are good against a wide variety of units, but not a power unit. For sure. And as I said, this area was secured. It'll be another push here from the Rams and Winged Hussars of TaToH. Getting in, attacking the Vills. And he'll have another great raid. A Ram push that this time I don't think will be stopped. He has the army to back it up. I'll go straight for the castle, push through the TCs, and he is just about at the trade. Just about at the trade. Well, Pops, this could be a wood game. Yeah, Mihai's team was down by 200 vills earlier, but Mihai might be losing his base right now. As that castle crumbles, and Italians don't like losing the castles, so that means fewer Genoese crossbowmen. And now the trade is going down. That's a lot of winged hussars in the trade. On the other side, we'll have some Xing as Sorokuma is doing whatever he can to try to hold against the Paladins. They're seeing the Trebs there. There's a bit of a fight in the middle of the map, but no actual push. As now TaToH with the Hussars is everywhere, devastating Mihai's economy, devastating the trade. Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect from Moray earlier, but he's played very well this game. One of those situations where if it's an Arabia 1v1, I think you heavily favor Sorokuma. But Black Forest, anything can happen. As the Hussars keep raiding and the trade carts lead to deleted markets. All the markets deleted. The markets are being rebuilt here in the back of Kamigawa's base. Mihai down to 96 vills, and he is going to run away. Now it's up to Dan. Can he push back in Sorokuma's base, reclaim some territory, maybe with some elephant support? That's a lot of keeps now for Moray. Trying to keep some control of this area of the map, and we're having more halbs from the Khmer. Does not feel good when you're the Khmer and you're making halbs. We have Sorokuma floating a ton of wood. Floating wood and food, and that's the thing is the Muisca, you can't really find ways to spend your wood and food. You can make pikemen, but you don't have halbs, and you'd rather have temple guards anyway. And you can make skirmishers, but then you'd rather have your unique unit skirmisher. So you have options that are better than your trash lines. And then you just end up floating the wood if you're not spending it at the market. You got 36 trade carts. Probably a civ that wants to have more like 70 to 80 trade carts. Fewer vills. Burgundy and bombard towers do extra damage. Yes, I believe they do. Although I think I asked Orton the other day, and he probably said no. So I'm gonna guess they don't do extra damage. I think that exact question came up the other day, and they don't. So this is slightly getting pushed back now. We do have the temple guards. These do have +8 against cavalry. So still not really a halb replacement if you were, say, fighting elephants. +8 against cav, +8 against elephants. But overall, it is still a tanky unit. We'll have halbs forward for Dragon Stars. He might look for another cut. Goes for the trade cart with the attack round. And we still have a good trade line, if shorter now. And it looks like Mihai will try to get the markets back up. Maybe repairing some of the fortified walls after that push. And now he's actually pushing himself with some cannon. Got maybe distracted by the workshop, isn't going for the castle. Has to be careful to take the ram down. And the winged hussars have arrived. I'll snipe the cannon and the Genoese crossbowmen. Hard for Mihai to get Genoese crossbow numbers up now that he's lost so many castles. And that is a nice raid from TaToH. Mihai adding more walls. Part of me feels he needs to be more forward with the walls. This cut from Dragonstar again, trying to get into the Goth player's base, but the Goth player is spamming enough units to destroy the onagers, even if the house wall is breached. And he should be able to just spam here until that's dead eventually. On the other side, it does feel like maybe this is getting slightly pushed and isn't as aggressive as it was a few moments ago. As we're an hour 23 into the game. And the elephants from Kamigawa are pushing forward. It does feel like TaToH and Dragonstar are getting pushed back a bit now. I worry for Mihai's army composition without enough Genoese crossbowmen, though. He's got 32 of them, and no production. If there were ever a way to buy stone, this would be it. But stone's going to be very expensive as you get late into Black Forest. 286. Not the most expensive I've ever seen stone. How much gold he's getting per trip? Pikachu is getting 122 gold per trip on that trade cart. Looks pretty consistent if I check a few carts. Yep, 122. And I mean, he's a Franks player with chivalry spamming paladins. He's not going to have gold in his stockpile. He will constantly have paladins queued and he'll constantly have gold. Problem is he's at 154 eco. He's got 96 trade cards. Okay, 96 might be a few too many trade cards. It looks like food is more the bottleneck for his paladins. I don't know, is 96 enough trade cards, chat? Should he do more? Does he need more trade cards? And Dragonstar not going for the Elephant Archer. That's a good observation. He's still going for infantry. And maybe Elephant Archer would be better against the Chimera, where Chimera Halbs really aren't that impressive. They miss a few key techs. What do they miss? They miss Squires, I believe, or they miss Squires. And then they miss the final armor upgrade. So they're slow and unarmored. And Mihai just doing everything he can to keep those Genoese crossbowmen away from the siege onagers. And asking for wood. And everything is completely stalled out. So we're 90 minutes in. How long is this game gonna last? It feels like TaToH's team has pushed and made almost game-winning plays several times, especially with TaToH's Hussar raids. They've gotten into the trade, And yet, Mihai's team is holding on. Mihai's team is holding on. My keyboard actually turned off because I was using only the mouse while casting and I hadn't pressed a key in a while. I was like, wait, why can't I move my mouse onto my other monitor? Alright, Rams getting destroyed by the cannon. TaToH not going to get in. The elite Obuk push inside the Rams is continuing, as a few Genoese crossbowmen here and another castle are all that stands between TaToH and the trade line once again. That Pikachu and Moray need more siege. Perhaps they do. I think Moray is probably at the buying stone stage of getting the castles up. And as we were saying, losing castles is bad for the Italians, also bad for the Muisca, who won't be able to make their elite Wetra warrior as the castles go down. I think there's only one castle left for Sorokuma. As the Paladins now fighting the Condottieri, much better than Paladins fighting Halbs. And TaToH's push not getting through. Great walling from Mihai. Some keeps for TaToH. Mihai so far keeping that out, keeping the trade safe. Giving Kamigawa maybe some opportunities to come forward with Scorpions. But that's still Scorpion against Siege Onager. That can't end well for the Scorpions. Even the Khmer ones. And now DanMP has to be careful of this pond. He might lose the pond. And if you're Gauss, the one thing you don't like losing is fish villagers. He's got, or fish villagers, fishing ships. He's got 60 mils on food. And this final castle from Sorokuma looks like it'll be crumbling as more Treb shots come in and the castle goes down. Paladins raiding here against the temple guards. The castle is down. A few TCs up here for Sorokuma. He's going to have to reboom. And it feels like TaToH's team, slowly but surely, is just getting little advantages here and there. Getting a few extra tiles here and there of map control. And whenever there's a bit of a push from Mihai's team, they're able to repel it. He has Sorokuma, no military, only 5 military units, 4 temple guards and a pikeman. He's queuing feudal archers now. And it'll be Dromans in the pond now for the Goth player. But hand cannoneers here can start raiding the fishing ships. And DanMP not floating any food. They'll need to start adding farms. As the Paladin hand cannoneer push cannot be stopped. This castle taking more fire from the Trebs. More fire from Moray's Trebs. Droman will hit more hand cannoneers, trying to push them back. Droman goes down. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you stop making skirms. And desperate hold from Mihai with the Genoese crossbowmen against the elite Obuki. He doesn't have that many Genbos left. It's only 18. I think they're slowly getting better and better. TaToH, besides DanMP, is getting pushed back. Don't see Mihai team winning. Cannon hitting those crossbows. And the crossbow numbers are falling. The trade is right here. And oh, look at that. Hussars have gotten into the trade. On the other side, there are X's up the passageway now. This is where they had cut earlier. Now they're just pushing there. Everything in Sorokuma's initial base is flashing with keeps that have been constructed there. And they're saying, we're not going to waste military attacking the vills. Let's just add keeps. And that'll prevent the economy from continuing to work. Cannon hitting the Arbs. And there's a GG. A GG from Dan. And what a game that was. But TaToH's team emerges victorious after an hour and a half. GG. And let's look at those stats. Moray, 1,824 kills. Dan, 2,500 deaths as the Goths. He sure spammed as the Goths. What's his eco? Best eco for Dragonstar is the Dravidians. Okay, okay. GG. That was a crazy game. Show the relic food? Can we see the relic food? Relic gold for Moray, or for his team. Actually, the team didn't really have that many relics. Max relics 4, but he lost some. Or he probably didn't have them for that long. It's the other team who had the relics mostly. And Dragonstar food, 108,875. Dravidians need their food. Where the Mihai and Kamigawa combined. Well, Mihai doesn't really need the food as the Italians, but Kamigawa does as the Khmer. Needs it for his Elephantos. Ooh, that was a game right there. Let me update this. Score 2. TaToH wins game 1, and let's get the civs checked off. That was for TaToH. The Dravidians, the Poles, the Franks, and the Burgundians. Against for Mihai, the Italians, the Muisca, the Goths, and the Khmer. So no one going for their top civs yet. $3,852 stone with 2 players. What are the odds? Probably they just mined all of their personal stone and didn't take extra stone. So actually players having the same stone count isn't that weird. Happens pretty often. And it's the type of thing that you notice it, that there are some floating point representation errors with stone that they don't collect all of it. Yeah, they are very consistent in mining stone. When I've tested it, it's the type of thing that changes if you're running a test and tabbing in and out of the game several times. That will affect the result of the stone collected. Or at least it did in the past. 200 trade cards is the goal. It is. Oh, man. Let's see. Where are we in the next lobby? Too many tabs. There we are, in the lobby for the next game. TaToH, after a long match, has to be happy about that result. Happy about the fact he chose Pikachu in the draft. Good civs left. Teutons, Persians, Bulgarians, the top civs for Team TaToH. Georgians, Saracens, Lithuanians for Mihai. Dravidian's the highest picked civ used so far. Man, I love watching Rage Forest games like that. When you have a good 2-hour game, or at least longer than an hour game, and it's back and forth a bit, at least like that one is. That's so nice. I am balding. Am I? At least I'm not that bad yet. Viper's only a year older than I am, and I'm nowhere near that level. Ironically, if this was a competitive Pokemon tournament, no one would have actually picked Pikachu. I know nothing about competitive Pokemon. My only experience with Pikachu was Smash Brothers. Of spamming down B. So next lobby is here. We got 7 players in it, just waiting for them to finish joining. And looks like everyone's there now. And with the civs we have so far, Teutons are still there. So Teutons, Persians, Bulgarians, Magyars feel like they're the pockets for TaToH. Oh, and Danny, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you, Towner707, for the follow. And we are just getting ready for game number 2 here. We got TaToH versus Mihai. Thank you, Jester Fry Q, for the follow too. And Achu, thank you for the follow. Now, Danny's chat, you guys can help me out too. I don't know how to pronounce this player's name with the multiple umlauts over the A's. So we're just calling him Pikachu. That's what TaToH called him. Oh, and supplies! Thank you so much for the gifties.
English are terrorizing all of Scotland, and it's time for us to fight back.
Get the William Wallace quotation with the gift subs. Pay you pot. Thank you. That S-Jags, that it perfectly explains it. Equals final boss in Finnish. I thought it was Payehu. Payehu? That could work. I could see that. I could see that. First, we need to gather 50 food, 50 wood, and 50 gold. Payehu? That's it? Okay. Okay. I'm saying it correctly. Okay, let's go. And Passy930, thank you for the follow. And they're still... Looks like they have their colors picked, so we're getting closer to launching. So let's look at the lobby colors. So we will have a bit of a swap for TaToH's team. Now, TaToH will be a pocket. He'll be Moray's pocket. And Dragonstar will be Payehu's pocket. Payehu now moving to the flank. Same lineup then for Mihai's team. As up, we're launching. Have fun with the cast. Thank you very much, Danny. Hope you're still alive after that extra long stream we did yesterday. I know I casted 3 of the sets and then had to leave. So I hope you had a good time powering through all of it. All right, let me just get the colors set up. I'm gonna put the captain's colors on the scoreboard. And this is a very Swiss cheese type of map with passages and holes everywhere. Going straight to sleep after the first game. We'll have a good nap. And we'll have Loom on the way for both flanks immediately from TaToH's team. Moray's walling up with some palisades. And we'll have some scouts engaging in a fight on the side. Vil will lure in a rhino. And try to continue walling. She sounded alive? That's good. Always good to be alive when you're casting. I don't think Twitch would let you stream if you're dead. They might have a rule against that. Wait, Moray, careful attacking that rhino with your scout. We don't need another rhino killing a scout accident. So here we'll have a few Vils going for a very forward wall. And was it Payehu going for the aggressive Vil fight. Rhino lured in for Sorokuma, so he won't be lamed. And low HP scout there, both for Dan and for Payehu. And Dragonstar has to be careful about that TC. There aren't too many Vils inside of it, at least. And Payehu has one Vil on the outside. We'll get back, and then wall. But still open down the middle here. 3 Rhinos in the middle of that passage. There's also a Tiger there. Is there a scene change for 2 to 3 seconds in between? What do you mean, a scene change? There's like probably just a fade. Capture Age is very, very jank to stream with. So I'll if there's something that looks weird, let me know and I'll go take a look at it after the stream. So forward settlement now for Sorokuma. And he is the 2P, so he can garrison in and out of the settlement. This is crazy, but actually, since you can garrison, yeah, we're going to have Payehu continuing to wall. If he were to chop that tree, he actually could then build a settlement on the inside, and then hop in the settlement and put Vils on the outside. You can't build diagonally against 2 wall tiles, but a wall and something that's not a wall you can build across. So triple boar lure from Moray. Shouldn't be too hard for him there. He does have loom too, that makes it much easier. So we look at the civs. Magyars, Vietnamese, Teutons, and Romans against 2P Bengalis, Lithuanians, and Saracens. So I do hope we get to see the Mamluk versus Teutonic Knight matchup. Because of all the melee armor they have, Teutonic Knights take 1 damage from Mamluks. And with all the HP they have, they are the hard counter to Mamluks. It is a sight to behold. Can't build on the other side of a wall. Tell me more about Coast Arena and ACCM. He didn't build on the other side of a wall, Saps. He built on the other side of a gate. That's a completely different situation. And there is the wall going down. And some X's in the middle from Dragonstar. Oh, look at that mining camp. Beautiful mining camp from Mihai between the gold and the stone. Oh, that'll be lovely. He's the Bengali, so he might want the stone. Also, he has the barracks and some militia. This is how Mihai plays Black Forest. He doesn't fight over the walls. He just goes feudal and goes men-at-arms. So he is happy to let the wall off happen. He's not even going to bother docking his pond. Moray's going to dock the pond for him. This is a 6-pond map, 3 per team. And Mihai doesn't really care about the pond too much since he's the flank. The important thing is that both of the pockets on his team have ponds. And they'll be fish booming. Both of the pockets on the other team do have ponds. And over to the west, it looks like Sorokuma is forward, and he'll be docking Payehu's pond. Did get a Vil through, and has that sneak Vil with the dock. Remember, you cannot garrison inside the docks. And if you have fish traps that you simply train and put inside the docks when they train, the docks still won't shoot arrows. So the men-at-arms pushing through from Mihai. He's going for an archery range behind this. So no tower rush, just archers with men-at-arms. And should he want towers, he does have the stone right there. And everyone feudal at the same time for TaToH's team. That's always fun to see, everyone aging up together. Yeah, Mihai wants to teach them a lesson with those new men-at-arms. This is what I expect to see from Mihai. He likes to go men-at-arms, and then I've even seen him go fast imp behind this. Byzantines feel like a good Mihai civ, the way I've seen him play. On the other side, Feudal Age almost in for Sorokuma. We'll see if he tries to do something aggressive here. He has a fishing ship in the pond, too. That feels ambitious, but... A fishing ship zooming around. Capture Age just sped up there for a moment. And that's Payehu up to feudal. And Men-at-Arms breaking through the walls. As the archers will hit to the vills. And Moray focusing on the stone walls. I feel like it's a bit easier to wall versus archers than it is versus towers, so he'll get the walls up for a while. How's Pikachu doing? He's gonna double dock the pond and ensure that the aggressive dock from Sorokuma can be cleaned. But we did see last game, TaToH won 1 dock versus 2 against Mihai. So I think the pond is still a question of investment, rather than necessarily having more docks. Although more docks do mean you can invest more. Sometimes just seeing 2 docks means that you're like, okay, I forced them to commit to this build a lot earlier than they wanted to. I've at least disrupted them a bit. But yeah, more Hulks from Sorokuma despite the docks from Payehu. And yep, there is the tower from Sorokuma pushing through. Payehu gonna go for the double stone wall. Has to be careful walling that far forward since it is in range of the tower. And Rhino there taken by Moray. It's wide open in the middle. Oh yeah, it is wide open in the middle still. There's a tiger there to eat the walling Vil. The Vil does have loom though, so they'll be fine. But yeah, this passage is wide open. One more tiger. Some rhinos at the end, and yeah, that does mean TaToH's fish is a bit exposed. But yeah, these walls could be deleted. There's going to be a wall there from Moray. Has the Vil. But if Kamigawa realizes that, I don't think he has anything that could run through immediately. Oh, and also, there's a dock there from Moray. Oh, what the heck? Kamigawa has just dock-walled the aggressive dock from Moray, so he can't ungarrison beyond it. Oh, that's wonderful. He just blocked the sneak dock. I've never seen that before, but I guess this is a lesson. Don't dock the corner of a pond. You can be blocked. Oh, this is amazing. Yeah, and he's even has this one off by a tile. If you just wall the corner, you can ungarrison, but he's actually blocked the dock fully. This is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. Oh, that is amazing. And now he is walled. It will be stone walls from both players up that middle passage. But this is still a super awkward area to be pushing mid-game. Either side could decide to push there. So meanwhile, in this pond, demos! Payehu's going demos. Does he know that they're useless now? Maybe he could make a beeline for the Vil, but she can hide farther inland. Call GG, it's over. Kamigawa just docked too well for everyone. Oh, there's a demo? Alright, 2 demos. They were kinda useful. Oh, they'll let the Hulks win the fight. And now at this point, looks like Payehu will win the pond back, but I think Sorokuma's done his part in delaying the fish boom. Over here, it looks like Mihai will win control of his pond, and also be walled in the back should anything sneak around again. So light cav though from TaToH, as he has a workshop, and there is an opening here. Looks like the wall there from Mihai never went up the way he wanted it to, or at least got breached right away, and he'll try to wall this out. Has a Vil there, but he still is feudal, and Kamigawa is opting to boom, so 3 TCs for him, and he's gonna leave his flank to fend 1v2 for a moment. And that'll be kind of rough. Mihai trying to get more walls up, and he will get 2 diagonal gates. The monk will be annoying, but at this point, I don't think you run the Vils. I think you let the conversion happen, and you use whatever Vils you can to get as much HP on the gate as you can. You can snipe the Vil off with archers. Mangonel is there, and that'll force him back. And Zelphos, thank you for the follow. And the gates will be pretty weak at this point. They don't have armor while they're foundations. And everything will now fall back for Mihai. He's doing Horse Collar. He is not up. And this is a tricky situation for him, because now he has Mangonels attacking him. He's in Feudal. Towers have less HP in Feudal. He needs farms so he can get food to click up to the Castle Age. But he can't really commit to the farming, because they'll get destroyed. And Sir Granin, thank you very much for using your Prime sub.
Sweet Jean, I shall avenge thee.
Show your campaign quotation. Thank you for the support. So we'll have Bloodlines for TaToH, as the tower is attacking the Mangonel. But the Mangonel has a bit of a hill, too, so that tower will go down really quickly. And I don't know what Mihai needs to do here. Kamigawa is doing a workshop. But now if you're sending Vills to repair the tower, you might just be losing the Vills to the Mangonel if there's a good attack round behind the tower. And no monks for the Feudal Age Mihai. The Knights will engage on the Spears. The Mangonel even gets a nice hit on the Man-at-Arms. We'll have Payehu up and forward Castle for Mori. There's nothing that can deny this now. The Mangonels are not there in time for Kamigawa, who decided to boom before doing the workshop. Now, if he had had 1 or 2 Mangonels here, maybe that means the castle can't be so forward. Has to be a bit more back if he's contending with a Mangonel push. But now, the market, the blacksmith, the tower, the berries, everything denied. And look at the golds from Mihai. All 3 of them are forward. Oh, and he's going to lose access to all of them. Now, another TC from Payehu, as he is hulking down that outpost. Sorokuma, to be extra annoying, did 1 tower and put a Vil inside of it. The Mangonel hits the other Mangonel, Vil goes down. And we'll have a TC up for Moray. Another TC for Sorokuma. And Sorokuma trying to boom, so that'll be his second. And he has a beautiful university with running water that will help him use the guard towers in this push. The Tupi, of course, have that bonus, team bonus, that you get pop space for every tower that you build. So 10 pop space for each tower. And another tower there. Well, I guess that helps Mihai if he goes tower defense to have the pop space, but he'll lose the towers to the Mangonels. And now it's Rattan Archers and his pockets Mangonel. Kamigawa can't out-micro TaToH, loses his Mangonel. And there are light cav from TaToH too, looking to hunt down the Mangonel. 1 light cav gets through, that's all that's needed to pick off the Mangonel. And the Men-at-Arms and Spears can't get there. He can't destroy the Mangonel with a parting shot. Yeah, this is honestly looking almost over. Kamigawa with, oh my gosh, he can't do the castle there because the Rattan Archers are there. The foundation is blocked from Mihai. Mihai is sending Feudal Archers to hunt down the Rattan Archers. I don't think that's going to work. They have way too much armor. The Feudal Archers will do 1 damage. Pikemen will be eliminated immediately by the Rattan Archers. The Knights are here. This is a doubt castle from Kamigawa. And unless Dan MT has the best boom that's ever been seen in Age of Empires to carry his team, this game is looking over. I mean, he's got 125 Vils. He's got 37 fishing ships. But he's not Imp yet. And we do have Dragonstar as the Teutons going Imp. Oh yeah, Dragonstar. I hope we get to see the Teutonic Knights, though, from Dragonstar. I'd love to see Teutonic Knights versus Mamluks, but I don't think we're going to get there. Mihai running his Vils, going for the mass exodus. I think his teammate needed to make a siege tower for him so he could run. Then jump over the wall so he didn't need to open the gate. Can he get 1 Vil to escape? He needs the gate to close. The gate doesn't close in time. There's a castle. Can he get to the castle? The castle needs to finish, and then he needs to hop inside. No, he won't get there. And Mihai at risk of being defeated. Nope, he did escape Vills earlier. He has 8 Vills. He has 8 Vills away. He's not defeated. TaToH has a pretty good boom behind this too. And we have forward workshops and barracks from Dragonstar. As the Hulks finally might take out this dock. But he is looking ready to push Sorokuma. Sorokuma, with the beautifully placed towers among the single wall tiles. Looks like this is a campaign-designed wall. I'll have some X's around here. Yeah, his TC being attacked. This TC is fine, but he's now lost his starting TC. This is a go steal the farm situation almost if you have the forward Vills. A couple of mangonels there for Kamigawa. But I think the big mistake here from Kamigawa, despite having the beautiful dock block, was doing the TCs instead of the workshop. And he needed the workshop first. You can get some Lechai out now. If you look at his relics, he does have 2. Or wait, no, it's Eco KD. Where's the relic count on this UI? Oh, relics. Okay, yeah, it is 2. That was like a broken clock saying the right answer for no reason. 2 relics for him as Lithuanians. You want to get 4. There's Onager. Lots of upgrades now for Dan. And if this team has a chance, Dan has to very quickly do a lot of damage, and Mihai will need to reboom. Mihai will be rebooming. He has 32 villagers somehow. 11 of them are here. He has a lumber camp defended by 2 watchtowers with 17 vills. He still is in the feudal age, though, so this is his only TC. The push continues. There's another castle from Kamigawa. These walls are almost breached. And is there a possibility of denying this castle? 62 HP on the house. At this point, maybe no. But this is the monastery with the Lithuanian relics. And those relics would be ejected in just a moment. The Rattan Archers are through. They don't even need to push the castle then. They can just mangonel that monastery from the safety of this passageway. So there is 1 workshop for Dan. We're at 31 minutes. Where is Dan's military? He's got some cav archers. Oh wait, Dan, that's where he is. I was looking for him to go either to help Kamigawa or to push the side. He's actually going up the middle, and he's cutting. He's gonna cut into this pocket. He can then get to everyone's bases. Some cav archers coming over. They can hit TaToH. He's not gonna go for the Mamluks. Not gonna go for the unit that's hard countered by Teutonic Knights. He's gonna get a nice raid on some vills and be able to destroy the fishing ships. So he can take out TaToH's food economy, and he himself has a good lead over Dragonstar in terms of booming. There's Heavy Cav Archer and Ballistics. Yeah, goodbye fish. TaToH will do a defensive castle, but he'll lose all of his fish. The castle from Kamigawa will stall this out. Wait, the dock has been destroyed. The dock from the dock block has been destroyed, and Moray can use his dock again. In the old patch, you could maybe make a demo to try to defend the Rattan Archers from the Lechai, but looks like they'll just be taken down mercilessly. And Kamigawa is still holding on to the relics. We'll hold on to the pond. Maybe can destroy the dock now. And what a nice play from Dan. And what a great play from Sorokuma, too. Look at these walls. The Tupi don't get fortified walls, so he's just on stone wall. He'll sacrifice some vills as part of the wall. But the Onager cut is through, but they're also caged by walls right now. Dan with some more castles trying to defend this. The Saracens are doing siege Onager. As fortified wall and more castles come in for Dragonstar to try to defend. Sorokuma up to imp, also Kamigawa up to imp. At this point, though, it feels like the raid might have hurt TaToH, but he certainly did not cripple TaToH. And fortified walls everywhere from Moray, while in the entire forest. As Lechai take out that outpost. Yeah, the Inca are the only civ with the South American graphics that actually have fortified wall, if I recall correctly. And Cav Archers might get cleaned up by a Mangonel now. Here the walls go. They did evaporate a bit to the Onagers. But there is a cannon there, and there's also a petard. I'm not going to one-shot the castle foundation with the cannon, although that would have been nice. More walls going to evaporate to the Onagers. But Siege Onagers here. Have the Halbs from Dragonstar. He's doing Siege Onager himself. Siege Engineer is also from Payehu. And as the Tupi, your options are basically Blackwood Archers. I mean, will that do anything against Siege Onager? You'll get a lot of resources refunded. Elite Latis from Kamigawa. And Mihai has the Bengalis. Bengalis are a good late game save with Elephant Archers. They really are going to need Mihai back into the game. And not really in a position to sling him yet, though. Maybe this is where Dan needs to sling a bunch of stone and food to Mihai. Get Mihai onto not just 5 TCs, but 7 TCs. Have him reboom as fast as possible. And focus on getting him into the game. They still kind of have his base secured, and that does help them in terms of trade. And thank you, Every Day is Sunday, for the follow. Cannon hitting the Trib. Here come the Blackwood Archers. And the Halbs will be picked off. Blackwood Archer's doing the job. Sorokuma, so far so good for him. He'll need techs for them. 8 TC into Imp with Bengalis, right? He's Bengalis. The more TCs he has, he just needs to click Imp, and then he'll get a ton of ills. Oh, that was a nice shot. Sorokuma's resource stockpile just jumped a bit. That was not what Saracen wanted. Losing 2 cannon. But this does feel like it's kind of stopped. And right now, Kamigawa is pushing. And despite the fact that this team had one player who is basically dead, somehow, I feel like they might be doing it because of how good Dan MT's boom was. This push, Romans and Teutons, has basically stopped. This castle's a bit exposed now. Dan MT, I think, has a lot of areas on the map where he needs to micro, and is maybe losing a bit of siege and a few cannon here and there because of that. But now, we have 3 relics for Kamigawa with the Leichai. Moray is trying to make a swap into the Vietnamese Fire Lancers. More castles against Moray. Mihai is doing markets in the corner. He's farming. We'll have the poison damage now from Sorokuma. He just needs to lead Blackwood Archer then, in the final armor. He's almost got his upgrades through. Siege Onager push from Dragonstar, as we'll have Long Swordsman for the Teutons. More walls from Sorokuma. But if Sorokuma simply can get to the upgraded Blackwood Archers, he can deal with the Long Swordsman with the poison damage. And then the Saracen player should, with their unique tech, we have Elite Mamluk. We have Elite Mamluk. We're one step away from Elite Mamluk versus Teutonic Knights. But with the counterweights, they will have the better Siege Onager, because the Mangonel line has extra attack. Teutons can get melee armor, but I think the extra attack is more important than that. So, Teuton push here. And now, Moray and TaToH combined still are pushing, but Magyars are kind of awkward, because their best unit is the Heavy Cav Archer, and depending on the composition, not always the most useful unit, and they don't have good siege at all, so they're completely relying on their teammates for siege. And now Scorpions are forward, and Onager shots on the Legionaries. Blackwood Archer is taking Legionaries down too. Sorokuma needs Elite somehow. I think Dan MT really needs to be slinging his teammates now. He's floating way too much food and wood. That's maybe one thing that Dan and T could do better, despite how well he's played. Sling his teammates better. I know, he's a lot, though. He's a lot to micro. And he is the one who will have to deal with these onagers now. How do you deal with that if you're the 2P? The only thing you could do yourself would be add champies. But against legionaries and Teutons, that's probably not going to work all that well. And now you need Dan to micro. And if he's trading, that's giving time maybe for Mihai to boom back. Okay, we have a bit of a pause. How long is the pause going to be? Moray saying no patrol. Is there a patrol stack? So this is the thing. You can patrol into fights. You just can't patrol back and forth. We put the World's Edge rule into the handbook. I absolutely hate that rule, though. I feel like just allowing patrol stacking is probably the way to go. But let's see. TaToH saying it's fine.
Yes.
How do you use patrol for attack retreat? You press patrol, and then you right click. And then your units patrol. The thing is, patrol disables collision in some ways. And in the current DE pathfinding, it disables it a lot more than it had done in AOC. So you still kind of have to use patrol, because it's the most efficient way to take attacks. But what specifically is banned is if you stand on one tile and patrol back and forth to get all of your units on one tile. But you are allowed just to patrol into fights on standing ground and then attack. That's allowed. Thank God it doesn't follow the UHB. I am glad we don't. Okay, Onager hitting the cannon. And this castle here from Kamigawa will crumble as the heavy cav archers for TaToH push forward. And feels like Mihai has to fall back again. Mihai's still Castle Age, though, but he's up to Imp. And how many TCs does he have? 4 TCs there, 1 over here. Now, I think we're still at the sling the Bengali player to have more TCs, so he gets a ton of Vil stage, but he has the Vils he needs. There's Fortified Wall for Kamigawa. He will lose his castles, and also has to be careful. He has 4 relics now, but he needs to run them to the back of his base. And he's training monks now, I think, to do that. Team could lose their trade, as now Mihai's lost his base, but Mihai really needs to get elephants into the game. And I think we'll need to check the sling after the game. I think that Dan floating all that food probably could have been doing a better job of slinging Mihai. Mihai has a ton of res now, but he's a bit late getting back into the game. Yeah, imp into GG. That's the thing, it feels like on this side, things are okay. And if Mihai just can get elephant archers out, maybe they can hold the other side. Stack patrol is actively forbidden and frowned upon. Yeah, but the stack patrol is a specific thing. Patrolling into fights has always been allowed. Unless Rage Forest is using a very different rule set. What about patrolling into fights? They holding barely. Should have a StarCraft-like attack move. Should just go back to AOC pathfinding. It's so much better. Oh, nice Onager shots there. So this is kind of stalled out now. Why did they pick them? Because they have to use all the civs. After bans, you have to pick the remaining civs. So latest pushing into the halbs. Pushing into the halbs, the Trebs attack the castle. And the Lechai cleaning this. There are some repairs there, but too many Trebs and not enough repairavilles. Kamigawa needs to grab the relics again. And he's, okay, just barely keeping the castle alive. He's got to get down under 100 HP. He's keeping it alive. He needs those vills repairing. He needs to make sure he's buying stone. But maybe doesn't think he can stem the tide of the Cav archers. But here's Elite Elephant Archer from Mihai. Will this be in time? Yep, the Saracens do have counterweights. We checked that earlier. And it feels like with counterweights, they're actually pushing on this side. Dan and the Blackwood Archers are actively pushing. Every time I see 2P, I feel like the Blackwood Archer in the late game is insane. They're always at the end of the drafts. But every time I've cast a game with Blackwood Archers, I feel like they end up winning. And what are the Elephant Archer numbers looking like? Mihai does not have any. He is simply going skirms. To be fair, skirms can be useful against Cav Archer and Halb. But I don't think they're going to cut it. I think he needs somehow to get to Elephant Archers. He does have 32 trade carts. That's probably not enough, though. And now the relics are being lost. I don't know if they can buy time for him to get to the Elephant Archers. Maybe they need some Siege Onagers here. Maybe Dan actually needs to start playing both sides with Siege Onagers. And this is where you look at the map and you're like, okay, there are drones in the pond. That's going to make it a bit hard to push. Maybe there's some way Dan can get the Siege Onagers to this side. Yeah, there he goes. And if he gets some good Onager shots, maybe they can stop this. But he needs good Onager shots. More upgrades on the way for Mihai. And it's still taking him a long way to get back from how far down he was. He's getting skirms contributing to the fight. So at least those are some numbers from him. He is population capped now, so I think he has gotten to 200 pop. But he's going to need to transition that pop into Elephant Archers. Skirms, I mean, they're better than nothing, but I don't think they're going to cut it forever. As now it is TaToH who's trying to get a castle on the hill. He takes down the Halbs. Can the Lechai tickle the Cav Archers? Not really. I think that when you lose your relics, Halb Cav Archers should stop the Lechai. Here's Elite Magyar Hussar from TaToH. Ram goes down. Onagers hit the Blackwood Archers. And they're going to call the GG. Alright, here's the GG. And TaToH's team will go up 2-0. It's over in the first 7 minutes. I think the big difference was Kamigawa trying to boom more than going for the early workshop. And then they got that forward castle. Yeah, maybe the first few minutes of Wallen could have been a bit different for Mihai. Mihai again playing that strategy of men-at-arms rather than focusing on the walling. But Mori and TaToH both being very aggressive punished him for that. He did manage to run some vills. Not enough to reboom in time, though. And I just want to check the sling stats there. As Dan did everything he could. Dan played that crazy with the Saracens push. And Kamigawa too, getting the poison damage. It feels like they would have beaten this side, Teutons and Romans, if not for the other side losing so hard. Maybe Dan could have tried playing Siege Onagers both sides a bit earlier too. Where do we see Sling? Sent received. Yeah, Mihai received 3,500 resources. Is that enough for him to reboom? He did get up to the max vills in the game. Alright, so that's 2-0 for TaToH. I'll have one more game coming up. And let's check off the civs. So that was Teutons, Magyars, Vietnamese, and Romans against Saracens, Lithuanians, Bengalis, and Chupi. So that's 3 of the top civs used there for Mihai. And that'll leave Mihai's team with Malians, Wei, Byzantines, and Georgians against TaToH's team with Maya, Berbers, Bulgarians, Persians. And definitely the better draft priority for TaToH for the final game. Although Georgians and Byzantines are still 2 really good civs, as can be the Wei. As can be the Wei. Malian's usually considered one of the worst BF civs. But you'll have Malian, Byzantine flanks, then Wei, Georgian pockets. Unless they flip and put Wei on the flank and Malians in the pocket for Mihai. Where is Ornlu? Ornlu is in the state of Illinois. Yeah, I mean, Dan's initial push to kill all the fish was great. We have more Rage Force today. Not today, but we do tomorrow. Tomorrow we will have Rage Forest at 19 GMT. That'll be our final first round matchup of Andy's team versus Kingston's team. And we're a bit late with their scheduling, but we'll be done. And hopefully everyone will be able to schedule in time for the second round this week. At least some of the teams have players who qualified for the league, so that'll hopefully be a bit less of a hindrance than it was last weekend. When is Seed 16 playing again? Seed 16. Viper's team. So thank you all for watching. We got a ton of people watching on Twitch today and also on YouTube, so we have like almost 500 combined. I need to update the counter to show both. Let's see here. All right, everyone in the lobby. And, ooh, Jude's coming on for TaToH's team. So it'll be TaToH, Dragonstar, Moray, and Jude's. Same lineup for Mihai's team. Mihai, Sorakuma, Kamigawa, and Dan. Three games of RF is kind of hard to schedule. Takes a while to play. It's just like an hour per game. All right, we're 2 hours in right now. Mihai needs to fight for position early. Yeah, that's not really his playstyle. His playstyle is more sit back, have a good Dark Age, get to Men-at-Arms. Alright, so TaToH's going to be back on the flank. It'll be TaToH and Jude's together with Dragonstar and Moray on the other side. And looks like the same... Actually, a bit of a different setup here now with the colors. We'll look at the colors. We'll have Kamigawa actually going with Sorokuma now. And Dan swapping from green to cyan. He'll be teaming with Mihai. Final player for TaToH's team now coming on Jude's will go as TaToH's Pocket. Up and there we go. We can see the civs now, but we know the civs. We'll see the positions. So probably no surprise. See Berber and Maya flanks for TaToH's team. Then Persian, Bulgarian pockets. And they'll have 3 bombard cannon civs in Berbers, Persians, and Bulgarians. And then a siege onager civ in the Bulgarians. For Mihai's team, also no surprise. Malian, Byzantine flanks. Way Georgian pockets. Maybe a bit curious to see the Wei and the Byzantines on the same side instead of Georgians, Byzantines, because then you're putting both of your siege onager civs on the same side, and you already have cannon civs on both sides with Byzantines and Malians. But we'll see if they have a plan with traction trebs. You probably play the Wei as the Cav civ, and then Georgians as the Halbus O civ. Oop. And we are into the game right away. Here we are, TaToH on one side, immediately taking a fight. And I realized there was no spectator delay. I was used to the spectator delay people used yesterday, and I forgot we jumped right in. So we'll have a forward wall also from Mihai, but Moray will be fighting. When I say forward, not all that forward, but at least he has the wall this time. He's finding a wonderful nook for his lumber camp. No reason to do Mali and SO when you have Georgians on the team. I think Malians just kind of struggle to do anything, though, late game. And Demasitu, thank you for the follow. Alright, Sorokuma lost his scout. He is pretty far forward if he wants to wall. But here come 3 vills now, and 2 scouts from TaToH's team. That is now an ambitious wall for Sorokuma if he doesn't have a scout. But Dan's going to send his scout over here. They were like, okay, Mihai's got the wall up. I'll reinforce the other side with the scout. And now that both pocket scouts are here, this wall's looking more realistic. Mihai needs to make sure he keeps his wall up. He'll be fine. We'll have a couple of houses up for Moray. And in the back, we'll have a nice boar lorry here for Dragonstar. So it'll be 1 pond per team, and immediately here, Dan MT as the Georgian pocket will come take the pond from Mihai by the flank. And now extra important that Mihai holds these walls to protect his pocket's fish. Now this middle will be awkward to wall. Maybe Mihai's team walls up here. The other side already Kamigawa and Sorokuma getting their walls up. Scout's gonna come over here. Yeah, no restarts this set. Oh yeah, that's brilliant. Maybe 1 patrol stack complaint, but no restarts. X up the middle. And a bear gonna foil Dan MT's attempt to wall. He'll try to make a zoo for the bear. There he goes. Needs another tile. Did he get it in? He did not, but he'll turn around. But lost a bit of extra HP. The Vil gonna fight the bear. Dan MT not doing what he wanted to with the Vil. That diagonal attack, I think, might have drawn the Vil in. Nice gate to get an extra hit on the scout. We'll have Loom for Kamigawa, too, as the diagonal gate over the wall, which explicitly is allowed in this tournament. Actually, wait, never mind. That's not a diagonal gate. I thought that was one of TaToH's gates. Nope, that's a Kamigawa gate. That's fine. But the rule set does allow the diagonal gates. There's a locked gate from Kamigawa. And a couple of walls here from Mihai. He's just going to repair. He can repair over the diagonal. As the Vils from Moray keep pushing in. So many arbitrary rules. Yeah, no gates whatsoever. Return to AoE 1. That'd be a nice change. gotta delete your walls every time. So Mihai now making sure he holds these walls, but again, just one palisade stands between that eagle and the other side. And we will have Moray adding in the barracks. No question that he wants to be aggressive on the flank, seeing that this is where the pond is. No trebs, no bombard cannon. We'd need the siege islander line to be much better against buildings then. The siege units all having distinct roles is definitely much nicer in AoE 2. So TaToH quick walling to try to save his Vil. And Dan MT doing what he can to stop that Vil from progressing. He'll try to wall it in. A couple of scouts nearby. He's trying to trap the Vil. TaToH doing whatever he can to save that Vil. Yeah, the original AoE 1 did not have gates. Neither did their first remaster. That was probably the #1 complaint for AoE 1 DE. Even more so than the fact it was only on the Microsoft Store and not Steam initially. That they didn't add gates. And Dan could have the wall. He just needs the Vil to finish the palisades. But TaToH's there with another Vil. And what was that pathing? He did not finish the wall. Could have done some speed walling or even gone for a house, but didn't finish it. Yeah, they added gates to AoE 1 in the DE version of it. Or not the DE version, but the AoE 2 DE version. And mining camp from Mihai, right on the gold. He's lowering his boars. And this is a map, looks like we had pairs of boars. There's a chance that the extra boars spawn in pairs instead of triples. And that's what happened here. So you don't get quite as much extra food. Again, everyone from TaToH's team, feudal at the same... Everyone in the game up to feudal at the same time. All 8 players researching the feudal age. And, yep, there is a gate from Mihai. He traps the eagle. Nicely done. Nicely done to trap the eagle. Here come the men-at-arms forward. And he's going to send Vils to Vil fight the eagle as Moray comes forward. And, let's see, that gate needs to be locked. Vils trying to fight the eagle as the tower goes up. 2 towers, actually. And the eagle looks like it will go down to the Vils, as we'll have a defensive tower from Mihai. But super aggressive play from Moray to go immediately for 2 towers. Mihai, perhaps not prepared for that, doesn't have the stone for another tower. We'll have his tower up. The hill won't matter in the tower fight, even if it is on the hill. Well, it will matter for 1 arrow will do more damage to Vils, but tower versus tower doesn't matter. And up TaToH. TaToH, he did get through. All of that Vil fighting and quick walling he did. Dan ended up letting the Vil through anyway. And now TaToH is there to harass Dan's fish. And that Vil walled in. At the same time, we have the scout from Jews. Okay, that's just a scout. I'd worried that was a sneak Vil for a second. It is just a scout. That is in. And we'll have some more walling from TaToH. Even doing a gate to ensure he has a bit of room to do some shenanigans with the Vil. Dan MT is trying to wall it in. One of the best things you can do against a dock Vil is wall it in, because then your ships can kill it. And the Hulk will grapple that scout. Somehow Dan dodges and gets out of the way. With only 1 range. That's a lot of fishing ships that can't garrison, and they will go down to the Hulk. And we'll have the market here for Mihai. As with this tower, he will lose the tower fight eventually, 2v1. And I don't see a range yet from Moray. It is just towers. And he looks like will have to be long distance mining some stone. Didn't commit to a mining camp. If he wants to repair the towers. So if you want to do 2 towers right away, you can long distance mine 50 stone. But then you still need more stone than that to repair. And the Hulks from TaToH are doing an amazing job on this pond. And not enough commitment from Dan or from Mihai either to wall this passage early on. There are some stone walls now, but TaToH already has some very forward walls. There's some Xing in the middle as we have some stone walls pretty much everywhere else. But right now, TaToH having an amazing game. Also, those faster moving Berber vills help out in those walling wars. Sad you can do nothing. You can make your own ships. It definitely does change with Hulks versus the old Fires, though. In this situation, I don't think there's any reason you'd make any ship other than a Hulk. Eventually, if you want Fires to destroy the docks, yeah. Or a galley to stop a dockville. But if it's just you're attacking fishing ships, I think Hulks are the option. So the men-at-arms are breaking through for Moray. Mihai did go for some stone walls, and he's up to the castle age. They'll be stronger in just under 2 minutes. Another TC from Dragonstar. TC for Sorokuma.
Shot it.
The men-at-arms will attack the palisades. As now, Dan not even going to bother to retake the water. He is simply going to focus on town centers and start farming. He does not have heavy plow, just horse collar. He's getting a fortified church now for the Georgians. At least the fortified churches will boost his farming eco. But it does hurt to lose all those fish like that. Yes, we did explicitly disable the fishing garrison. Yeah, I think the biggest side effect is when you could garrison in the docks, you could easily prevent sneak docks by garrisoning your fishing ships and shooting the vill that's building the dock. And yeah, maybe the pond's big enough you could build the dock away from the enemy docks. But it was awkward enough. Also the fact that you can't really raid fish as well. I think most people felt it was better not to have that. So, here we have, once again, Dragonstar as the pocket being aggressive. He is forward with a mangonel and a ram, getting right through those walls that Mihai had. And at least Mihai's up to the castle age. But the longer feudal age from the flanks seems to have led to more aggression. Mihai will try to do a castle, can then go Gebetto warriors. And with Gebettos, if you micro them properly, you can destroy the mangonels. It's the funnest part in a very toxic way. Xing down here from Moray. As that repair vill is repairing the ram. So here are the Gebettos. And Mihai with Gebettos still could destroy these mangonels. But I'm a bit worried that Dan has not fully walled himself off. He needs some walling right here, right now. And he needs it immediately as Dragonstar's there with his cav. He sees that. There's a palisade gate and a house. Is a palisade gate enough here? Looking at Dan, he doesn't have much stone left. And the mangonels are forward, so that palisade gate will be useless if the mangonels get there. And yeah, he recognizes that and goes for the stone walls. I think deleting that house and doing stone walls might even be good. As here comes a ram, he needs a mangonel of his own. And on the other side, there were some outposts still forward from Sorokuma. As the ram goes for the wall, Sorokuma trying to push. But Jude's the pocket is doing light cav while booming, so 3 TC boom for him, along with the fish boom. He is the player who has taken the pond, and as the Persians will have the faster working TCs powered by a fish boom, faster working docks too. And it's looking really good for Jude's and his boom. Hulk's going down to the Gebettos. Scouts going down. Camel archers for TaToH. And outpost for Sorokuma. So Gebetto's all that really stands in front of Dan for protecting his boom. Gebetto's chased by the knight. And the knight will go down. So Mihai at least some defense now. And the vill count 227 to 227. That is exactly equal. As a camel archer for TaToH comes forward, this ram will be attacking the wall. Wait for Jude's forward. Some pikemen pop out to chase that knight. So camel archer is a very, very scary unit. I've seen them carry games on Rage Forest before. Not quite like Mangudai, but one of the best unique units once you get a good number of them amassed together. Extra strong attack, just as a base attack, makes them very deadly. A nice mangonel shot on the camel archers, as we'll have a big boom from Dragonstar too. He's on to 5 TCs. And so far it's just 1 TC play for Moray. He's adding in plumed archers. The Maya is Civ who doesn't need much eco. And Mihai is doing everything he can to stone wall. I'll have double layer stone walls up. The castle can break one of them. And the score is flipping a bit. I was a bit worried about this initial dock from TaToH, but it seems like that's been cleaned. And someone can now retake this pond for more fish traps if they want it. We get a civ with regenerating siege. Wouldn't be surprised if we get a civ with some unit that can repair siege. Kind of like a sergeant. Regenerating sounds crazy for rams.
Shot it.
Plumed archers. Not going to go through the walls immediately. Could use some petards, though. Or could just attack it. It'll take a bit, but they'll break through eventually. Mihai, defended by Dan's Mangonel. Some more Xing down here as Sorkuma's defending with Mangonels. Up to Imp. So on this side, Sorkuma and Kamigawa both up to Imp. The Way will be able to do traction trebs right away. And Dan actually pushing through here too. Has to get some good Mangonel shots though, since he deleted his walls. He doesn't want TaToH to run in with camel archers. Has to be careful not to Mangonel his own ram. Which he has done. I hope we see the real Persian elephants this game. Usually Persians boom for Savaras, as we have Imp just about to come in. But elephants would be fun. So Mangonels for Dan won't really accomplish much. Too much army here for TaToH and Jude's. But it will allow a more forward wall, at least for Dan. The plumes are in for Moray. They will pick off a villager. And split from the plumes. Dodging the Mangonel shot. Dan still defending with Mangonels, and it looks like Moray, looking at his stone count, just spent the stone on a castle. And we'll do another forward castle. We'll break through some more walls. And we'll have a bear attacking Dragonstar in the back. More castles now. Second castle for TaToH. Forward castle here for Kamigawa. Remember, he needs workshops for the traction trebs. He doesn't make normal trebs. He has conscription on the way. He has the heavy Huiguan Cav, and he's ready to push forward with them. Now, Persians and Berbers, 2 excellent camel civs, should they want to counter the Huiguan Cav. Berbers themselves don't have halbs, only pikemen, but the Persians have halbs. And bracers in for Sorkuma. Byzantines can do arbs. Traction trebs not that good at destroying buildings, but they'll still be part of the push. Ram here just trying to take out the walls, make the opening a bit larger. And we'll have Mingguang armor, extra melee armor for the Huiguan Cav. Will help against the Cavaliers, not as much against the Camel Archers. And Lots of stone walls here, so the plumes won't have anywhere to run in. There'll be a watchtower from Dan. Okay, I'll keep watch by the walls, I guess. I'll just get hit by whatever Treb comes forward eventually from the pocket. As there's Dragonstar up to Imp. Immediately doing Onager for cuts. But now... And Dragonstar has a really good boom. Seems to be outbooming Dan. Thanks to all the aggression Dan had to contend with. Kaspa, that'll be faster working castles for TaToH's team. So Trebs and unique units come out faster. And there indeed is Savar from the Persian pocket player. And the question is, what side do the Savars go for? It looks like he was getting ready to go for a triple push on the right. Alb Siege from the pocket, Dragonstar, and then Savars from the Persians. But he will turn around and actually try to come back to the left side, seeing all of these Huiguang Cav. But as that castle's pushed, there are now 6 traction Trebs. That's a good number. TaToH has to repair quite a bit. Scores for this game are still really close, as are the Vil counts. Trebs are coming out, and again, it's Mihai who's struggling on the flank. Gold mining for Mihai. He's going to the back for a university and more houses. And he did manage to run Vils already, so he has some TCs spaced out. Won't be in as bad of a situation as he was last game, as Onagers are looking for good shots on the Plumes. A couple of Onagers go down, they have a hill, both sides trading Onagers, and the Plumes end up needing to run back. Okay, Dan, you gotta stagger the shots to hit Plumes, but he's slowly but surely getting a bit of damage done. Plumes going down, but the Onagers both go down. Nice micro from Dragonstar. Cannon Galleon on the pond, though. That'll make it hard for Dragonstar to push with Onagers, and also can allow Dan to push back on that castle. Mihai, 90 Vils, and he's just about up to Imp. But if you're Malians, you're against the Maya Plumes. Just maybe questioning what to make. Champ Scarls are an option, but then Plumes will have +1 against infantry, and Elite Plume has +2. There'll be 3 Trebs now for Moray, and Mihai might need to think about running more Vils. Castle forward for Sorakuma, as his team is continuing to push, but Traction Trebs are so bad at destroying buildings that TaToH's been able to repair this castle the entire time. Traction Trebs going for the castle. Trebs tearing down houses, tearing down the market. Vils running. Mihai down to 84. At least he's Imp and has 2 extra TCs. And he's not in a situation where he'll need to reboom as much as he did last game. Once again, feels like he's dying. 40 Vils here that are exposed to the Plumes. And he's just adding in more TCs knowing he has to reboom. But reboom into what? So far, the other side has been holding. Camel Archers feel like a very strong unit, more so than Arbs. As the Savars will have an attack bonus against the Arbs. They're trying to get us around. Let's see what type of fight Judes can take. He's actually running for the Traction Trebs. And if he destroys the Trebs, that alleviates all the pressure of the push on the castle, and yeah, he'll lose some Savars. But maybe worth it just to clear the Trebs. And this is where maybe Sorakuma could have had Bombard Cannon of his own. He was the Byzantines, but just relied on the pocket for the siege. And so far hasn't been able to push in. On the other side, Mihai continues dying. Wait, what just happened here? A Dragonstar cut into Dan Empty's base. Mihai will send his Vils into the passage. There is a Svan Tower keep here, heavily garrisoned, for fighting those Halbs. The Onager is destroyed, and I think Dragonstar may have just cut a path for Mihai to save some of his Vils. He cut a path for the enemy team. He's maybe, but then Dan MT is walling him out. Dan, let him through, Dan, let him through. The Svan Tower can't reach that far. And Mihai loses everything. Oh, Oh, his teammate walled him out. He said, no, don't let the halves in. Dragonstar had done him a favor. Oh, well, now Mihai is down to 30 vills. I think he had lost some of the vills by that TC too. And there's another cut too from Dragonstar, killing some of his own plumes maybe? I think those are maybe just Kamigawa's vills. And now the plumes are in the trade. 2015 all over again. Plumed archers in the trade of a team game. Yeah, Mihai's getting his rebooming practice after this set. I mean, to be honest, it's an important part of Rage Forest, rebooming after you've died. What was one of those things that makes, I think, AoE 2 interesting. It's not like AoE 4 where you lose stuff and you're out of the game in a team game. You can run with one Vill and come back. And we saw that. I think it was TaToH who had 2 1 HP Vills who ran, reboomed, and his team won the game. So this is Kamigawa's castle getting pushed, and there are the GGs. And TaToH's team does win 3-0. Oh, sorry, my scoreboard should have said group stage. Play all 3. There, well, we'll correct that at the end. I had that correct out of game. There we are. TaToH will win 3-0. And pretty good performance from his team. It felt like there was an execution difference that could be felt. Which is a crazy thing to say, because Mihai and Sorokuma are very good players themselves, but TaToH with all those quick walls somehow getting the dock forward, delaying Dan's boom and the fish boom. When felt like Mihai had maybe done what he needed to do with the initial walls, but then couldn't stop TaToH's villain time. Swung things pretty heavily in this team's favor for the early push. And then over here is Sorokuma. Felt like they didn't quite get the push they wanted in early imp. Civ composition of way-going traction trebs. I still am doubting that for the early imp pushes. It feels like a castle on a hill with repairs stops traction trebs for a really long time. 194 kills for TaToH. 66,910 res collected for the Persian player with a huge fish boom into TC boom. And let's check off the rest of those saves for TaToH's team. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 wins and all skulls for Team Mihai. As TaToH takes that set and is looking like he's off to a good start. Seed number 4, and the team playing very well. I think Dragonstar is going to be a good player for Rage Forest. I know he's picked kind of late in the draft compared to what his elo would suggest. Are no leftover civs? No leftover civs at all. Yeah, Dragonstar won the last Rage Forest, right? He was on TaToH's team with Mihai and Kamigawa. So a meeting of that last champions on both sides here. But that will be it for the Rage Forest today. We'll be back tomorrow at 19 GMT for the final set of the first round. That'll be... Andy versus Kingstone. Andy versus Kingstone tomorrow at 19 GMT. So I hope you're looking forward to that too. I've really been loving these Rage Forest games. And I think that'll be it for us tonight. Thanks for watching both Twitch and YouTube. And we'll go raid someone on Twitch, see who's live. And we'll be back tomorrow. Also, We streamed without a drop. My internet held up today. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you also for all the gifted subs. Everyone who subbed today, especially Supplies for a few gifts. And Sir Cranen for the Prime sub. And we'll see